The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth nations will be in dismay, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will die of fright in anticipation of what is coming upon the world. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. But when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads, because your redemption is at hand. Beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life, and that day catch you by surprise like a trap. For that day will assault everyone who lives on the face of the earth. Be vigilant at all times, and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent, and to stand before the Son of Man." The Gospel of the Lord.
The first day of Advent, which is today, is also the first day of the new church year, what the church calls the Year of Grace 2019. We pause at the beginning of this new year and say a prayer to God who will be revealed to us in the year ahead, season by season, week by week, day by day, moment by moment, where we live, where we are, and through what we do. For God is always revealing himself to us, and we do not have to go anywhere to find God, for he is always present to us. Actually, God cannot be absent from us. One theme of Advent might be expecting the unexpected. So in Advent, the church turns our attention to the two comings of Christ. Both were unexpected. No one expected God to take on flesh and become a human being. And Jesus warns us that the second coming will be at a time we do not expect. So from today until December 16th, the church directs our minds and hearts to await the second coming of Christ. It's kind of interesting that at the beginning, we focused on the end. Every year on the first Sunday of Advent, whether we're in year A, B, or C, the gospel is about the end of the world. And again, at first, that might seem strange to us to begin with the ending. But when we map out a trip, we start with the ending point, our destination. We look at where we are and how we need to get to the ending point. So on this first Sunday of Advent, the church directs us to look to the end of the world. It helps us put everything in perspective, the whole year, our whole life. And besides, the church has always taught us that death is the vantage point from which we have to look at our lives. So as we begin Advent with this gospel about the end of the world, we are reminded of where we are going. We know where we are right now, and the church gives us each year this privileged season of Advent to help us think about how we will get to where we're going. And then in the second part of Advent, from December 17 to December 24, the church focuses on the coming of Jesus into human history. Its theme is preparation for the Lord Jesus. But the church also considers the coming of Christ that exists between the two comings. His coming, that is, to us in the present moment, through the sacraments, through persons, circumstances, our day-to-day lives, the events that are part of our lives, even through our faults and failings and sins, through everything and everyone that crosses our path, Christ is being revealed to us. So since his coming in the future and his coming since his first coming and then his coming at the end of time were both unexpected, it's reasonable to expect that his coming in the present would also be in unexpected ways. Just think of how much at this point, your life is the fruit of events and encounters that you did not plan. The people you know, the places you have lived, the dorm that you live in now, the professors who teach your classes, the friends you have met here and elsewhere, the places you have been, things you have done, experiences you have had. So much of this, if not all of it, is the fruit of encounters that you could not have planned. So do you believe these are accidents or coincidences? Or do you believe that these are the gifts of God's love through Christ's presence, revealing himself to us now, in between these two comings? My favorite definition of a coincidence, of course, is when God chooses to remain anonymous. The late Father John Donne, a legendary Holy Cross priest who taught here at Notre Dame for decades, liked to say this: the worst thing that can happen to you in your life is not that your life plan fail, but that it work. Because God's life plan is so much bigger than anything you could have ever imagined for yourself. God's dreams for you are bigger than what we could dream for ourselves. So his coming is always unexpected. Our faith and our reason will lead us to be especially awake to the presence of Christ. And so we know that Jesus will reveal himself to us. May our hearts be humble and desirous enough to welcome his presence in unimagined ways that are yet to happen. And, in the end, more than anything, Advent is a season of desire. God places within us the desire to love, to follow our dreams, to become the person God dreams us to be. Without desire, there would be no change in the world. Actually, without desire, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. And our deepest desire is our longing for God. It's our deepest desire because it is planted in us by God. It is often revealed to us in feelings of restlessness or incompleteness. It's the innate desire for relationship with God. Everything that we do, whether we are staring temptation right in the face or praying the rosary, is ultimately based on a desire for God. Everything that we do, no matter what it looks like, really is the longing for God, a desire for God, a hunger for God. We are so incomplete, so halved, so broken, so fractured, that everything inside of us desires and hungers and longs for God. Everything. Now, the good news is God's desire for us is even greater than ours for him. So he's already put in all the work. We just have to respond to that, knowing that everything inside of us, no matter what it looks like or feels like or smells like, is really a desire and a hunger and a longing for God. So during this Advent season, may God reveal to each one of us ever more deeply our own longing for God, to enter our own life more deeply and more fully and more profoundly. May this season of Advent draw all of us closer to the deepest desire of our hearts, which is, of course, the desire for God.